Hey there. Welcome to A Higher Dimension. I'm Gloria Danvers from Gloria Danvers Hypnosis in Orlando, Florida, and I'm your host for A Higher Dimension. As a hypnotherapist, I work with everyday people who are having extraordinary experiences in the fascinating world of past life regression, therapeutic hypnosis, psychic abilities, spiritual awakenings, and paranormal encounters. Every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., join me and my guests as we explore their powerful stories and extraordinary journeys together. And sometimes it's just you and me. Solo episodes where I dive deep into metaphysical insights, spiritual concepts, and mind-expanding ideas that I think you'll find both useful and fascinating. Not only will you hear incredible stories, but we'll talk about what comes next. What happens after these life-shifting moments? How do they change you? Who are you now? What truths have you uncovered? We'll explore big questions through deep, eye-opening conversations that you don't want to miss. If you're interested in working with me and having your own transformational hypnosis experience, you can reach me at gloriadanvershypnosis.com. If you're here, chances are you're ready for something different, ready to explore yourself in the higher realms. So shoot me an email or book a free consultation. Maybe it's time for you to shake up what you think you know about the world, about yourself, who you've been, who your friends really are, and where you're headed. You can catch A Higher Dimension on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Podchaser, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeart.com. But right now, let's sit back, relax, and uncover the hidden depths of the human experience right here on A Higher Dimension. Hello, everyone. This is Gloria from Gloria Danvers Hypnosis, and welcome to A Higher Dimension. Today, we have a beautiful young lady with us who's had an extraordinary experience. Thank you for being here, Lysandra. I appreciate it so much.
Of course. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate that.
Sure. What was your spiritual life like before you had a past life regression?
So before my past life regression, I would say my spiritual life was very interesting. I went through a lot in my childhood that somehow kind of pushed me into the spiritual life, really. I want to say that when I was 10 and 11, that's when I started to have my first thoughts of like, what happens after we die? And it felt really heavy. Like I would be 11 and just some days I would just cry myself to sleep because I feel like, I would feel these very heavy emotions. And it got me to thinking at a very young age about like, what more? Why do I feel like this? What happens to us? And that's what started this whole thing very young. So I've been on this journey for a while now. I'm 30 and I've just been thinking like that this whole time. Just why? Yeah.
Did you have people in your life that you could talk to about what you were thinking and experiencing?
No, I did not. When I made the mistake of bringing up my thoughts of death and why do I feel like this, and I even told my parents, like, hey, I actually have dreams and things of you dying and it scares me. And I told them these things and they told me to stop, that it's not okay, it's not normal. So, when people tell you things like that, you don't suppress what you're feeling because it's still happening, but you suppress who you tell. And then you kind of just stop speaking. So no, I didn't have anybody to speak to about it. Everybody that I spoke to about it thought I was weird.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. Well, it's a good thing you didn't think you were weird.
Yeah.
So, Lysandra, you had a regression with me last year. What made you decide that was the time? What were you thinking and feeling?
So at that time, I was really going through a lot, and something in me told me that the only way for me to find out like what was going on was to get a past life regression, that I would get some answers doing that. So that's why I went and did it, because what I was going through was something that it wasn't like answers you could Google or just find. It was something more like eternal, like some eternal conflict that I had to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was my whole goal with the whole past life regression.
When you came to see me, you were super excited.
I was so excited.
And that first time, maybe you were a little too excited because the first time we were not able to get you there. Why do you think that was?
Well, like you said, yes, I was very excited, but now that I've had more time to think about my past life regression, I just feel like I wasn't ready because it's a lot. It's not just mentally, but it's physically what you go through. And then after the regression, it's a lot of thinking, depending on what type of person you are. I contemplated a lot. Like I was always thinking about, oh, what did this mean? Just trying to dissect the whole thing, really. So yeah, I think it's what it was is that I went in with such an expectation. A lot of people I know go into it scared or, a little like hesitant, but I was not. I was looking forward to it all the days up to it. I had this expectation in my head, like, oh, I'm going to have this life like this princess. Like I already had all these expectations and thoughts in my head. And I think that's what messed me up was the surplus of expectations instead of just being like, okay, just neutral, whatever happens, happens.
Right.
I was just ready, like, oh yeah, I already know I'm going to have this type of life and this type of life, and it's going to be so great and so awesome. And if it's not, like I already thought I knew, and that's the problem. And I thought I knew.
I make allowances for that, as you know, and it doesn't happen much, but it does happen sometimes. So I do offer that extra session when we can't complete the first one. What do you think the difference was between the first and the second? Were you really, as you say, just more open to whatever happens, happens?
Yes, I was more open to whatever happens. I was more relaxed, and I also got more comfortable with your voice also. So that's what it was.
When most of us go through the regressions, it's with the expectation that we're going to show up in that lifetime as a human being. And this was not the case with you. Can you tell me a little bit about that? I think people would be really interested to know about this.
Yeah, so that's another thing. I did not expect like a life that I was not a human being either. So it was really interesting. It was confusing. I had to figure out what it all meant really, because it almost like when if you hear the recording when I'm speaking, it almost like there's certain parts where you're like, what is she saying? I'm talking about like laughter and kids and light, and it's just very like, what is she talking about? You really got to I don't know, I really had to think about it. Yeah, I did not expect it at all. But once I found out, I was like confused and excited. And a lot of things started to make sense for me. A lot of things started to click once I had this past life regression. And I found out, oh, wow, but you didn't have a life as a human. A lot of things made sense. A lot. That eternal conflict that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, a lot of it clicked for me once we did this. And I found out about this life.
Were you surprised from your shift to being Lysandra to being this ball of light? Because that's essentially what you were, just a ball of energy. What was that shift like for you?
It was, I would say, a little overwhelming. Yeah, it was overwhelming a little bit. And now in retrospect, I just think I see it differently. It's amazing.
Those kind of things take a long time to process.
Yes, they do.
I feel a lot of times like we really are a duality. We have our physical self that we're here as, and then our spiritual self. And then you have the added dimension of also being this light being. You're not necessarily just that 3D human, but you are, an expansion of more than a spirit. What are the differences between you as a human and you as a spirit being? Because I know you could hear in the regression how different you were there.
Yes. The biggest difference, I would say, is with humans versus spirit beings is the amount of emotions you have. It's crazy. And even now, I struggle with it. Like, I struggle with it a lot. Like, I just don't understand why there has to be like such big reactions to things. I'm just like, it's very simple. Everything is just like, it's very simple. I don't see so many like layers of emotions. It almost feels like, oh, she has a disconnect, or she's emotionally detached or something. That's how I come up with sometimes. But it's not essentially that. And that's how people would see me, right? But now that I understand myself better and know about light, I know what it is. It's that I have a problem trying to like decipher all these emotions, because I'm like, there's happiness and there's joy. Why are we trying to add to it? That's kind of what it is. So I understand myself better in that sense. But that's like the biggest difference. Like, I didn't feel, when I was in my regression in this light form, I didn't feel any like sadness, none of this. It was just straight happiness. I just felt like an overwhelming sense of happiness and joy. You even told me I was smiling. Like, I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I couldn't, and it was just like, why? And when you're human, it's just like every little thing, so many feelings, so many emotions. It's a lot. It feels very different. It feels very different. And even right now, I feel them both in me. I don't know how to really explain it, and I felt it my whole life, really. It's just now I understand it and I recognize it. Like, there's times that I experience things and I feel like there's like two sides of me, two personalities, and the reactions are very different, very different. But I don't feel like I have like no, what is it? Like that personality disorder stuff. It's not that.
No.
It doesn't feel like that. It's different. It just feels like there's a part of me that says, why are we overreacting to this? It's not that serious, you know? But yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's just, and there was a sense of being light. There's no like individuality, if that makes any sense. It's like we're all like this connected. I can't find the word for it, but we were all connected as light. And there was other lights, because in the recording, because I listened to it a lot actually, and I like go over my transcripts and stuff. In the recording, I say that I see other orbs flying around me, like we're this collective sort of thing. There's no, oh, well, I'm an orange blob and you're a yellow blob and I don't like you because you're orange. Like, it's not like that. And that's another thing in humans. So it's just so many differences. So many differences. Wow. I felt very free, but like also very like united at the same time as light.
Do you feel like that has helped you understand yourself better?
Yes, absolutely.
And maybe you can give yourself a little break sometimes, because you understand that you really have these two distinct parts of you. And maybe the purpose of the regression was so that you could integrate those parts of you in a way that helped you understand yourself better, would you say?
Yeah, that's true.
It's easier when you know.
It is.
Yeah.
Makes you feel less crazy too.
Yeah, it can be. It can be a little crazy, because the human being and the spirit is so completely different from that pure form of energy that exists as light. It's pretty amazing. As this light being, you had a really kind of a beautiful purpose. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So my purpose as light was pretty much to bring happiness and joy anywhere there was like darkness. And I experienced that in my regression by like being by a window, and I heard like kids laughing, and like bringing light. If there's a cloud, like being able to move a cloud so it could be sun, or making a flower grow, just something so simple. It's really interesting. The more you think about it, because you're like, wait, what? I don't know. It's just really crazy to think that there's like these metaphysical orbs, beings, energies out here that we don't really see. They're doing these things.
Mm-hmm. And then you can be a part of that.
Yes.
That you are that. Yeah. That's the most amazing part to me. And in your purpose, it was pretty simple. You said, I'm here to bring light to dark places.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times people will think when they have a regression or they have a psychic reading that it's going to be this profound, really intense, kind of obscure bunch of words and mysteries and stuff. But no, it's so simple, don't you think?
Yeah, it really is.
I know we talked about this before, but you feel that this light being is still a part of you.
Yeah.
And what did it bring into your life that you didn't really realize about yourself before?
Honestly, I would say just my personality in general. It's not that I didn't realize it. I did. I just didn't understand why. Like I come off as very playful and naive and like young, and I just don't understand why. Even as I aged, I still came off that way.
Wow.
And I've been told by people, and I'm like, yeah, that's just what my energy is, and I never understood it. But after that happens, after my regression, like I said, it all made sense for me.
Yeah. I imagine it was pretty cool to discover that whole part of you that's been working behind the scenes all the time. And
Right.
I didn't even realize that this was what it was. So towards the end of the regression, we did some higher self work. What were you surprised that you didn't get all the answers that you wanted?
So, to be honest, after my first time, because did have to come back, I did not have the same expectation. I already knew, you know what? If you weren't allowed to see this right now, don't think they're going to give you these answers. Or myself, my higher self, don't think your higher self is going to give you these answers right now.
Right.
Because I knew already after the first session that didn't go like as we wanted it to. I already knew like, you aren't ready for everything, Lysandra. You're not. And I also think because I'm younger, and I was younger when I did this, I wasn't going to get all of those answers because I also have to, this is me saying, this is my opinion. I feel like I have to go through my life without giving too much information from my higher self. So then I'm like cheating or something. You got to like the cheat code or getting this extra help. Like there's stuff that I'm supposed to figure out in this life on my own. It's not my higher self's job. It's myself. It's me, myself right now. So I can get to where we're at, if that makes sense.
Yes, it absolutely makes sense. And sometimes I think that when the higher self doesn't want to provide that information, that the information would change what you need to go through in order to be the person that you are.
Exactly.
Can you resonate with that?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And it will just mess up my path. So
yeah, it would. It would.
It would. And it's better for me to just not know and figure it out. And I've spoke to you about it before. I want to do a regression again, probably when I'm older and I feel like I'm more ready, and me feel like we're more ready.
Yeah. I was just thinking that. I was thinking, in a few more years, she's going to get some answers because you'll be in that place.
Yes.
Because the work that you're doing on yourself now and the way that you're shifting your perspective of what your life is like, that's going to open up a lot of doors for you internally to help you understand yourself better. And Spirit may decide, hey, she's in that place now where we can give her those answers. Absolutely agree about that. Now, it's been about a year since we worked together. What do you understand about yourself now that you didn't then?
Wow, I would say so much. I would say a lot. I understand a lot of like my triggers. I understand a lot of things that make me happy, my joys, and why I react to certain things the way I do, and why I feel a certain way about how I do. And there's sometimes that, like I said earlier, that I would feel just so overwhelmed by emotions. I'm just like, why? What is this? And now I understand why I feel that way. It's not that I'm emotionally disconnected. It's that it's with these two things inside of me. It's like, it's conflicting. They're opposites. Like one is feel everything. One's like, why just feel one thing? And as a human, I experience that.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that you're the first ball of energy I've had come in. So you're unique in that respect. But I have other clients that come in, off world, having an extraterrestrial presence and in a lot of different ways. What do you think is the purpose for you to, as that energy, that energy spirit, to come and experience this human life? Do you think that it helps you in your spirit growth?
I think it does, because I think it's harder. I think a human life might be one of the hardest lives. I mean, I don't know. I can't say exactly because I don't know all my past lives. I don't know if I've been an extraterrestrial. We really don't know. We didn't regress to that. We don't know. So we can't say. But it feels, from like the research I've done of other past life regressions and because I've seen and I've heard and I've read about other ones as well. And it just feels like the lives on those planets and stuff just seems more easier. And again, the life is like one thing, but the problem, I don't want to say the problem. Let me not say the problem. The thing with humans is the amount of emotions. If you really think about the problems with the humans, it's all the emotions, the murders, too much emotion. You're crying all the time, too much emotion. You want to hit somebody, too much emotion. That's what it is. Think about a lot of these issues. It's like so much feeling of one particular thing that you can't control it. So much anger that you just got to go and hurt somebody. And that's what I think is so hard with humans. Like the desire, the lust, the hate, those emotions that come 10 times fold is like, whoa. That's something I have not seen anybody that's been past life progress speak about on those planets. Oh, they do this, they do that. This might be different. The food might be different. We might have like tongues like lizards. Cool. But none of them talk about those emotions. The power of these human emotions is insane. It's not like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I have like this light that I feel so strongly about it. But if you really sit down and think about it, a lot of these issues, like countries bombing each other, it's all emotion. It's all emotion, human emotion.
I have never heard anybody bring that perspective. And it's impressive because you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Do you feel as that energy being that you understand humans a little better?
I feel like I understand a lot, even when I don't want to and I don't understand why. I feel like I have like this secret hidden wisdom within me that I've like kept back here from my other lives, and I've just slowly leak it into my brain, and I just know it because I don't understand like how I feel very strongly about some of these things, but I don't understand why. Like you see how I just said all that very quickly, very fast, and I felt it. I felt all of it very much. So I feel like why, and I feel so passionate about it. Like, why does it have to be this way? But again, that's just human nature. And us as humans, we say it, you hear it all the time. Oh, that's just human nature. We will just be like this. So that just happens. But it doesn't have to. But it does, because as humans, we make excuses for human behavior and that human emotion that is so hard to control. It is very hard to control.
Yeah.
It is very hard. It takes like, I don't know. It's just any emotion. It's not just anger, even like heartbreak. Once you experience that, oh, it's so painful. You really do think you will die. And some people actually do. So I need to find a book about human emotions.
Or write one, or write a book about it.
Maybe I should.
Maybe that's one of your purposes here. So after we had this lifetime and we processed it and we were both just blown away, you went out and did your own research about that. Can you tell me what you came up with? Because that's fascinating too.
Yes, of course. So I was trying to figure out if other people had this type of experience. I wanted to find out, was anybody else a orb of light? There's no way I could be the only person. And I found there had been a couple of different people. And then I found like this whole article. I found a photo even of these orbs of light in this. It was such a beautiful scenery too. It was these like orbs of light floating around in different colors, and they were just all there collectively living. And I did find somebody on a forum that also spoke about their experience as a light being, and that they just had a life like an orb of light, and they just like went around and did stuff. And I'm like, that's literally what I experienced. So it felt really good to know, oh my God, there is other people. There is other people. Yeah.
I think when you do that you really make that whole experience legitimate.
Yes.
Because you'll come out of the regression and you'll think, I don't know. But knowing that you didn't know anything about that type of thing when you came into the regression, and I know you didn't.
Yeah, I didn't.
Finding that other people had the identical experience right down to the color and the moving around and the feeling of bringing light, that must have been pretty validating for you.
It was. And then I figured out about the colors too. Like each color meant something. And then I guess orange means like young and joyful and naive. And I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense. That's literally the words people used to describe me. So it just all clicked. Everything just fell into place. And it made so much sense for me. The past life regressions, in my opinion, they're so good for you. Like if you want to do something for you to find out something about yourself inside your spiritual journey, not to get a life regression to be like, oh, okay, like, is my life going to, your life is going to change, but not to do it to change your life. Like, I'm trying to describe it correctly. Like, oh, let me come into this and make all this money or like do something, your life isn't going to change that way. But inside, if you're doing it for the right reasons, spiritually, you're going to get what you're looking for.
Yeah, you're going to get an expansion. That's the way that I describe it. It's like you have your spirit here, but once you begin to have these experiences and accept this knowledge, that it seems to expand your spirit, almost like to be able to hold all that heavy stuff that maybe you couldn't hold before.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I've had clients come in, like I said, as extraterrestrials. I had one very dear client who loves plants and flowers, and she wanted to go back to her beginnings as a sentient soul, and she actually was an elemental. The lifetime she was an elemental, and we made that shift from her as an elemental to her as a human. And again, having problems with a human life, because being an elemental, being a ball of energy, being that alternative energy is so much different than being a human.
It really is.
Yeah. What would you tell somebody that was looking for a past life regression?
I would say absolutely do it. If you, absolutely do it, but don't have an expectation. Go into it open mind, open soul, open heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's my advice. Go into it just ready to take in whatever is given to you. Appreciate whatever is given to you. You are going to see what you are meant to see. You are not going to see what you want to see. That's
perfect advice. And one more question I want to ask you. How does your experience change the way that you perceive other people, that you look at other people? Like, do you look at them and say, I know that you have an internal struggle with your spirit life, or maybe this is part of your path and you have to go through this? How does that change the way you relate to other people?
I would say I am more understanding. And yes, like the second thing you said, I look at other people and I'm like, okay. Like when I see these certain reactions and like they're, again, human emotions, I'm like, okay, I get it. I don't take anything too serious. Everything's like a grain of salt, especially other people's reactions to things. But it makes you, it made me more forgiving and more understanding, because I'm like, don't forget your light. It's okay. And I just like tell myself that. Like, if you can't forgive, then, who can?
If the light can't forgive, then who can, right?
Like,
that's a powerful statement.
Yeah. So it keeps me in check constantly.
Mm-hmm. That's a big concept, Lysandra. I mean, I know people that are twice your age that would have a real problem with that.
Yeah.
We live in a world where things are happening all the time. And as you said, you're constantly getting triggered.
Yes.
So I love that you're thinking that way, because I feel like it's easier for you.
Yeah.
I just appreciate you so much sharing your experience. Like I said, it was one of the most unusual ones. It changed my perspective a lot. And as a regressionist, you always want to learn things. Your clients always teach you new things, because you can bring that back again to the table. So we all really uplift each other.
We really do.
Yeah.
It was an uplifting experience.
That is for sure. That's for sure. So I'm looking forward to working with you again in about 5 years.
Yes. Yes.
Who knows what's going to come up then? I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being on my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope that I've managed to pique your interest, raise your curiosity, give you something to think about, teach you something that you didn't know before, or send you down a major rabbit hole. If you're curious about what I do, shoot me an email. Go on to my website, gloriadanvershypnosis.com, and book a free consultation. Let's discover something about you that you didn't know. I'll be back next week. And until then, stay curious. Stay open to all the things that come in for you through higher dimensions.